And I was not scared. I was feeling fine and this was okay. But I thought this was maybe an illusion or a hallucination or so, because nobody told me that is part of meditation progress. That's normal. And now we talk about the 5 signs which show up that you're an advanced meditator. The beginner's edition you find in this corner, but the other video is also good for advanced meditators. But this video even more. So let's start with the first point, and this is flow. Flow is a great sign, and some people even have it before they are meditators. This could maybe be another sign that you have been a great meditator in a previous life or in previous lives. But wherever it comes from, flow is evidence that you have big meditation progress. Flow can happen in several parts of life, which normally don't have to do with meditation. Therefore, it could appear even before you started with meditation in this life. Lots of people have flow in sports. For me also, sports was the first activity where I could experience the flow. Especially in monotone sports it works. For me it was jogging. After a few kilometers, I think after 7 kilometers or so, about that, was not to calculate, it was different every time, but about 7 kilometers, it started in the flow. It started for me that my mind switched off and other regions appeared more, and I felt kind of connected. But I was not meditating in this time where this experience started. At this time, this was more than 10 years ago, I even thought meditation is useless, like most people think, and it's a waste of time. I just wanted the action. So I did my action, but after a long period, after 7 kilometers, I got the flow. And I was like flying. It was not running anymore. I still was running, maybe even faster, but I didn't give effort anymore. It was like going automatically. And I was like kind of flying. And today they can measure it. There is lots of research on it. They can see that the body sets free body-owned drugs. But flow can also happen besides sports. It can happen while painting or doing another hobby. All great painters of earlier times were in flow when they created their biggest and most famous pictures. They have forgotten their self while creating these pictures. They were so involved. They were absolutely in this painting. They were a union with the picture, with the process of painting, and with the whole world. They were kind of connected. But there was no ego active saying, oh, this is not good enough. I must do better. I must improve. You know, they were just painting, not considering. And later I had also the experience while writing. I was in the writing flow. It came up the very first time in university, and I could see, wow, how is this working? And I couldn't really grasp how that works, because writing is something you normally do with your mind. And it always started with my mind, that I had a task and I had to write something. But when after a period, it's the same with the 7 kilometers in the sports. After writing some sentences or some pages, suddenly it started that it became automatically, and kind of a higher thing was continuing, and I was not giving so much effort anymore, but the results were better. Although I have given less effort since the connectedness was there. And you know this experience also from your everyday life. You can have even this flow experience in the most boring or most monotone job, that are the best jobs actually, because the flow can start earlier. In complicated things like in office or when you are in a university and you have to write something, and this is so complicated and the mind is so active at the beginning, this is even more difficult to come in the flow. But once you have it, it flows and flows. And this experience is also called self-forgetfulness in English. It's about to forget not yourself, your higher self, because your higher self reveals this time. It's about forgetting your ego. It's meant, self-forgetfulness means the lower self, the ego, that you forget it. It's about forgetting your ego, that you are so involved in what you are doing that you forget all of these negative thoughts, emotions, whatever. The second sign, and there's also lots of evidence on it, are lucid dreams. Nowadays, psychology and neuroscience are investigating lucid dreams. Lucid dreams are dreams which are not straight like a normal dream. A normal dream has a beginning and an end. And in most cases, you play a role in this dream and it happens. And at the end, you are scared or whatever happens in a dream, in the worst case. But in the lucid dream, at a certain point, you can take control and you can influence the dream that it gets another end. And that's cool. Let's say a person suffers from a nightmare and has every night the same nightmare or almost every night. And suddenly this person is able to have lucid dreams. And at this point, before this nightmare becomes scary, at this point, the person can make a choice and can change something, and suddenly the nightmare becomes a good dream. This is actually also an image for enlightenment. When we become enlightened, then we also get suddenly control about this life, this human consciousness, which is kind of a dream, because we dream it as ego, as human consciousness, and then higher consciousness comes and you take control about that whole thing. And so on a lower level, it is with our every night dreams. And if you have lucid dreams, this is a sign that you also have been a great meditator in previous lives, but also in this life. And when you have lucid dreams and you are not a meditator, then consider this is a sign that you have been a great meditator in previous lives, and you should continue and you should start meditating this life, because it's a great chance for awakening inside of you. Lucid dreams are a very significant fact that you are or have been a great meditator. So don't throw away this opportunity. Take it and make the best from it. The third point, which shows that you are a good meditator or an advanced one, are lightnings or other kinds of flash when your eyes are closed. Sometimes things appear when your eyes are closed. Although they are closed and you expect that your screen is black then, but you see lightnings or other lightful things or delightful things. And when you open your eyes, and maybe it is night or so and you are meditating, then the room is dark. When you close your eyes, there is more light. This is also a big sign, but this could also be a very concrete sign. Some people see things, some also see things with open eyes, some spiritual things or wonders or kind like that. This is also a big sign that you are a good meditator and have a very great progress. But this could also be a negative thing, because you can hallucinate and have a mental illness. So be careful here. Not everything you see or you experience is good and shows you something, shows you really something. It could also be a trap, could also be a trap from the ego, which is a mental illness or another thing. So be careful here. This is just a sign, but don't interpret it in wrong ways. The fourth sign is a feeling of connectedness and wideness. The further your meditation progress is, you feel more connected with everything. Also in these situations when you don't meditate, you feel that there is something inside of you, and this is the higher self, which is always meditating. And you feel more and more in everyday life, in almost all situations, connected with everything and everyone. And especially when you meditate, in this process itself, the connectedness grows and you feel connected and full in love and bliss. And this is kind of the highest sign you can have. The mystical Meister Eckhart says, "Who had ever seen these depths, for those people 1,000 gold nuggets appear like a false penny." Actually, he said 1,000 gold marks, but let's see it in general without any currency. So that means a thing from high value, which is, for example, money or gold, appears for you worthless, like a false penny. When you have seen this connectedness, when you have felt this wideness, then you have a true wealth inside of you, because you really love and you really have a good life then, And suddenly money is not so important anymore, and especially luxury not. The fifth and last point is the out of body experience. That's one of the greatest things. And maybe for some which haven't had that, it appears now a little creepy or scary, but it is not. When you have this experience, because at the same time you also have the bliss and the connectedness, and you know that you are connected with this body sitting there, but you are more or less the room seeing this body, seeing the body in which you normally, with your human consciousness, live in. But suddenly, through a meditation, after a long time of meditation, you go out and suddenly you see yourself down sitting there. But you are full of love and you are the whole room. Or if you are not in the room, if you are outside, you feel also that you are very wide and you are everything. But at the same time, you also have this body and everything is fine. You are not scared that you are out of body and then, oh God, how must I find back to this body? It's not a mistake or a failure. When I experienced this the very first time, I thought it's kind of a failure. I was not knowing anything about results of meditation. And therefore, I started this channel to make things like that clear, that this is okay and there's nothing wrong with that. But at this time, nobody told me that this is okay. And I was not scared. I was feeling fine and this was okay. But I thought this was maybe an illusion or a hallucination or so, because nobody told me that is part of meditation progress. That's normal. And one day when you go out and you awake, you get through the whole awakening, then you also have this out of body experience whenever you want. You go back in the body or out of the body. And when you have fulfilled these 5 points of the video, and also, of course, the 5 from the other video, you are not so far away from enlightenment. Consider that and continue meditation, because it's a big opportunity you have here. You just must go the last step. And this is to forget yourself, to forget the target, to forget even the target that you want enlightenment. You must go in a status of not wanting, not knowing, and not being. That's a very normal part, but nobody tells you. And therefore, I started this channel. But the basic point why I started was the connectedness, because out of this connectedness, I was so full of love. And as told with the Meister Eckhart quote, suddenly money and property became worthless. And I gave lots of stuff for charity, which had no word anymore for me. And I just had this one wish. I wanted to tell as many people as I can from this connectedness and from these results of meditation. Because when everyone knows about these results, there would be no more wars on the world. There are lots of young people fighting against wars, doing demonstration, doing things on the outside. But as you know, in most cases, there are no results. The politicians don't react on that. And I consider that people must just learn to meditate, to calm down, not just to calm down, to also reach higher targets and to develop. And when everyone would do that and concentrate on that instead of arguing and fighting others with their ego, then we could have a better world. But from the inside, first of all, everyone has to develop in himself, in herself. And therefore, I started the channel and my books and my podcasts and the lectures in the colleges. And I ask you to share my channel with as many people as you know, that they also can benefit from meditation. It's not about that I get fame also, because this is worthless for me. It's just about that people get to know about meditation, the positive results, and to develop, which is for the people a personally advantage, but also for all together in a union. Have a nice time. See you soon. Bye.